So, tariffs and tax policy, which President Trump advocates, could spike inflation. No one knows for sure what will happen with tariffs. What's your best guess? How likely are these to be implemented as currently stated? And what is your take on the impact of these moves, if implemented, would have?
Yeah, this is where I think this is how we get to the recession expectation, and the market. Sort of the market is reacting to the good news, like when you strike a trade deal or when there is good news or good words from President Trump or from President Xi on the China front. But if we take a very big step back and let's say we strike trade deals with all of the countries that were listed in the Rose Garden as being special and singled out, special in a negative way. Even then, as we're seeing with the UK, at least the reporting that I've seen so far, is that tariffs go down to 10%, the baseline tariff. And I think I did read, but I can't confirm that that's the sort of the deal with the UK. It's going down to a baseline tariff of 10%. Let's say all of those countries get trade deals and they go down to 10%. China is going to be different. Let's pick a number. Like they go from 145% down to a baseline tariff of 25%. Okay. If that was the case, and I'm not even saying that's an expectation, I'm saying that would be a case that would have the markets, like celebrating. You're still talking about a quintupling or, sextupling, I don't know, whatever the numbers are for a 5 or 6 or 7 time increase in your effective tariff rate. That's a pretty hefty tax hike. So I think and that was our debate here for a very long time, is the 10% baseline tariff a ceiling or a floor? The more that I see, it looks more and more like a floor. And if that's the floor, then that's a challenge. And for the Fed, again, going back to the previous question, I don't think it generates inflation. It'll generate what looks like inflation for a few months in CPI and PCE as it hits those imported goods. But the economic impact would be to pull everything back down. So I don't see them as inflationary. You mentioned.
I'm sorry.
You had also mentioned tax policy in the beginning of the previous question, but then it sounded like it was about tariffs. And I'm not sure if I answered your full question.
Well, the next question is going to be about tax policy.
All right.
So do you expect the tax exemption to survive in the negotiations, or are we going to see some cutback in tax exemption?
Which tax exemption are we talking about here?
On bonds.
Oh, I would think it would survive. So I'm not a policy expert, but that seems to be one of the things that even if some of the people in the administration who are not really close to this would be advocating, well, you got to get rid of that or something. That's the kind of thing that would start hitting markets in a way that would make our Treasury Secretary very uncomfortable, in the same way that on April, I guess it was 9th, that Wednesday, April 9th, when there were so many challenges in the bond market, that he was able to go into the Oval Office and say, something needs to happen here. And I think that those kind of market signals are pretty clear to the Treasury Secretary and to several other people in the administration. And I just think that there are enough interested parties that it would end up being an exemption. They're going to look for revenues and ways that they can get the tax cuts in every way that they can. So I'm sure it's being examined. But I wouldn't expect that to disappear. But again, not a policy expert. I'm more of an economist who is calling the balls and strikes, not predicting where the pitcher's going to throw it.
Very good. So, Luke, how serious is the Fed about hitting 2% inflation? Would they be satisfied with 2.5%?
I mean, they're serious about it. Just ask them. And I say that kind of jokingly, because that's always going to be the first thing that they say. We are committed to our 2% objective, and they should be absolutely 100%. And I think that their actions right now, PCE is at 2.3%, and they've been holding rates since whenever the last time they cut was, December. That sort of reflects that as well. But I say it kind of cheekily at the beginning, because I just can't imagine a Fed chair that would clobber the economy over the head for 2.3 or 2.5% inflation. It's not that damaging. And this is where you do get to the interplay of, is inflation more of a problem or is unemployment more of a problem? Because 2.3% PCE, where it is right now, is not a problem at all. As long as consumers and businesses are not expecting it to move higher. If long-term expectations are in check, 2.3% PCE inflation is completely fine, I think. Yes, they're committed to 2, but they're not gonna, I don't think they're gonna force a recession if they truly think it was gonna stay at 2.3 or 2.5 or something like that, even though they would never really say that out loud.